Halloween forever.
Got a question for you. Quick question. Why did the demon cross the road?
I don't know, Brian.
Because your mother was over there sucking cocks in hell.
Close. The power of Christ compelled him.
Ew.
Welcome, boys and
I
ghouls,
like
to a very
Steve's
fucking
response.
Minisode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
Hey guys, we're here once again. We're a day late. We are a day late, and I just want an elephant in the room. Gonna throw it out there. Gonna just fess up to it right now. We are a day late. Fucking deal with it. All right? Just deal with it. You'll be fine. I think this did happen one other time. Similar circumstances. I think Meg had like an emergency life event or something. I, this time, had an emergency life event where we were supposed to record, could not record. Same policy applies. Money back guarantee. Money back guarantee applies, guys. This episode only is free.
Free.
It's on me. It's on the house.
Mm-hmm. Brian covered your tab. He let me know.
Yeah, let me know. I will issue a refund immediately. Consider yourself refunded. I had my car broken into, actually my coworker's car, and a bunch of my shit stolen, including my computer, my headphones, and all kind of good stuff. Was dealing with that yesterday. So we're recording a day late. But like I said, I'm fairly confident everybody will be fine.
Everybody will be cool about this.
Be cool, guys. But this is nonetheless a very, very special mini-sode because we got a couple of things we got to do. First of all, we are going to announce our micro-budget gems, which is, of course, the Showdown episode for the shittiest month of the year, February. We are going to announce those, and then we're going to talk about a little Shudder original. We're going to talk about some beers. We're going to do all this stuff. So, first of all, I should probably say as well, if you want to help us pick topics in the future, suggest topics, vote on topics, do those sorts of things, follow us on the social medias. It's at Halloween is Forever on all the various social media outlets, on the TikToks and the Instagrams and the Facebooks and all that sort of thing.
Oh, can we talk about the TikToks for a second?
Yeah, what's up with TikToks?
Please do.
TikTok is stupid and I hate the internet.
Yeah, TikTok sucks.
So we
But
probably
you somehow got us how many new followers?
Yeah, 500 plus.
Really?
In like
a
2
day.
days. In 2 days.
Why? What happened?
I just post that. This is why I hate the internet. So Meg and I had been posting on TikTok. We've been posting like audio clips from the show, and Meg had been doing talks, and we had probably like, I don't know, almost 50 videos on there, and we only had 120 followers. Then I made one dumb, stupid little edit of a 7-second video. It gets over 115,000 plays and earns us 500 followers. Yeah. And this is why I hate the internet.
I'm
went
hearing
viral.
all of this for the first time. I don't even know what the TikTok is. I'm gonna literally watch it for the first time right now.
Yeah,
We
you watched
posted it on Instagram too. It was based on that video I sent you guys. Steve took it and edited it perfectly.
Okay, I gotta watch it now. Watch it now.
Quit watching horror shows.
Fuck yourself, old man.
Fuck yourself, old man. Okay, I didn't realize that was. First of all, I didn't realize that was us. I definitely liked that. I was like, didn't realize it was our account.
Yeah, that was us. We did that.
Well, it probably could have confused you because I sent you guys the original audio, which was just that guy preaching for like 30 seconds about
Well, there was
anti-horror.
that, and then so I was out of town for work all last week. I was like out of pocket, busy as fuck. I did see something get reposted. I didn't even realize it was us.
Yeah,
that's funny because
it gets all muddy.
Yeah. But we had a similar situation where I just posted, my annual, appreciation for Santa's sleigh, starring one Mr. Bill Goldberg.
Yeah.
On the Instagrams. It just literally was just a quick clip of the opening scene, where he comes down the chimney and stuff. out of nowhere, it currently is still running. It has 9,200 likes and 58,000 views. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Why? Why that one?
Why that?
Why that
like,
one?
You know what I mean? There's tons of other stuff that's just as interesting or more interesting. I don't know. The internet, you guys, works. The internet works in mysterious ways.
All I'm saying is I think I might have to start posting to TikTok again and then get disappointed and then quit for months and then come back and make another dumb little video and get more followers.
Well, my TikTok account, I started one. It currently has 0 posts.
Nice.
And I've done nothing on it.
That's a creep account.
Anyway, yes, we can all. Yeah, it is a creep account. We can all agree the internet is dumb.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I was gonna say the dumber the better, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Steve, that should just be that.
We're not trying anymore.
Light.
We're not trying hard anymore.
No, trying's for idiots.
Yeah.
That should be a shirt. Halloween's forever. Trying's for idiots. And then when we post that, we start a Patreon. We become millionaires. That's how it goes.
I can see it now because it's just going to be in like Comic Sans font with like shitty crude drawings of the three of us.
Yeah, it's just me with like a bunch of Oreo crumbs on my belly giving double middle fingers.
That's too much work. Too much work.
30 grand.
I'm just talking stick figures.
I like how life's coming full circles though, because I do have "Don't Try" tattooed on my hands.
Yeah, that's
there
true.
You go.
That's true.
This is perfect.
Should we? I listen. Let's pose this. Not to jump the gun here.
Mm-hmm.
Should we just have a Patreon? We haven't had one, but I've had in recent weeks multiple listeners say you guys should have a Patreon, and I'm like, I vaguely know what a Patreon is.
Yes. So it's something. Yeah. It's something that's been in Steve's brain for a minute.
Yeah.
He had to kill his other show to have more time to do the Patreon. So he killed his other show, and now there's a good chance we'll start doing more Patreon, and we might have some sponsored content. And I think if we do sponsors stuff, like if we start doing ads on this show, this is a promise I'll make to the audience. If we start doing sponsors on this show, then you can pay us $1 to not listen to those ads on our Patreon.
There you go. I like that. Steve knows how the podcasts work.
Can that tier be called "Fuck You"?
I was thinking of naming them things like Scamp and Rascal.
I'm into it.
I like that. I like little woodland creatures.
Yeah,
in
the Scamp tier. You get ad-free episodes.
I like it. All right. Do we got some beers that we're drinking here this evening?
No.
I saw Meg was drinking something that looked a little crispy.
Guys, dry January turned into a damp month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was like springtime, or it's a little damp outside.
It's the 30th. You almost made it.
I've been drinking the last couple weeks. We just recorded before I started having a couple drinks. It's fine. I'm weak.
Couple two tree.
Oh, I see what you got there.
Yeah, I got Andrew's Bavarian Pills. Very nice. Very nice.
Little pillsy boy. I like that. That's an excellent beer.
Yeah.
What? Well, here I'll go next because I have a little pills as well. Actually, not technically a pills. This is Human Robots Check 10. They're 10 degree.
I've had that one. That one is nice.
They're 10 degree pale lagers. It's fucking yummy. I like there.
That place a lot.
Yeah, cool spot. Excellent folks. One of my favorite breweries in the damn world. First time I was there, I'd had tons of their beer. I'd never actually been there. Went there Friday night. Yeah, with a couple of my coworkers. Slammed some beers, did some dang old chug some milk tubes. Had a blast of a time. We're walking back to our car, and as I approach, I see that the window is smashed out and all of our things are gone. So really put a damper on the night, but right up until that point, we were having a blast. But I did get some beers to go. Got their old Check 10 and Hallertau pills. But they had a what did they have? Oh, the Czech Tmave 13 degree. They had a fucking Rauk beer on. They had a Dunkelweiss. Oh, just lots of yummies. Lots of yummies. So, Steve, what do you got?
Fuck all that trad trash.
Oh, God. Trad trash.
Yeah.
I think you said Chad trash.
I got tongue tied because I'm drinking soju, baby.
Steve is that guy as he chugs it out of the bottle. Steve currently is that guy in like a kaiju movie under the bridge. Like just
Yeah, I'm the guy and the host.
Yeah, slamming a bunch of soju.
Yeah. Fuck all that trad check trash. I'm drinking soju, baby.
Drinking Zoom Zoom juice under the bridge with the monsters.
Fucking 14% peach juice. Let's go.
Where do you get the? It's becoming quite a trend. I've seen a lot of people with the soju. Where are you purchasing the soju?
I'm getting it at the PA Wine and Spirits because it falls under the category of Asian wine.
Okay.
Yeah, even though basically the stuff I'm drinking is fucking like low grade vodka with flavoring put into it.
What?
Yeah.
Which is how I like
We
it.
talked about soju. Is it
Probably.
super sweet? Like, is it?
It can be. Yeah.
Sounds.
Yeah. I mean, they're. I guess it's a sweet, but it's a lighter sweet than like drinking a fucking gross ass stout that's like big and 14%.
Yeah.
This is nice and crisp and light 14%. So
Interesting.
Blinding
Is it like the
juice.
FMB of? Is it like the traditional FMB of Japan?
no, because it's Korean.
Oh, I thought it was. Oh yeah.
No,
Sorry, I
soju's
was
Korean.
getting sake.
Yeah, you're thinking sake. Yeah.
Sake and koju. I'm getting mixed up. Yeah, Korean.
Yes.
But is it like that? Is it like kind of a? Because I feel like when you see it in movies, it's always like just degens drinking it.
Yeah.
Is that normal, or is that just a coincidence that I've noticed?
No, I don't think it's a coincidence because it's definitely popular among young people and it's popular among degens, as I'm a degen.
Right.
And like,
I meant to imply that. I'm glad you got it.
yeah. And here's the other thing. It's only $6 a bottle. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
$6 a bottle for 14%. That's why degens love it. And also because it's super drinkable.
Gotcha.
It's super drinkable and super high octane.
I do like to get down.
Yeah.
So maybe I should get some of that.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting.
What he
I'm gonna have
means
to pick
by
some of
that is
up.
on the floor because he's
Yeah, I
drinking
like to-
10 bottles of soju in a night.
I like to get down. Yeah. That's
What's
what I
it?
meant. That's exactly what I
What's the new Korean barbecue place that's down in it's near Two Phrase? Ah, shit.
meant.
But
I don't
I'm pretty
know.
sure they have all the sojus.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's they do the traditional Korean barbecue, all you can eat kind of shit, and you can get bottles of soju, and you get fucked up.
And you just get down.
You
I
get
like
fucked
that.
up.
I like that. I'm gonna go get some of that. Give it a little try. Sounds kind of yummy. And also the bottle looks cool, so I'm gonna drink out of that bottle.
Yeah. Oh, I think. Oh, wait, it's literally just called soju.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what the brand is?
No,
that
that's
you
the
have?
restaurant.
Oh, then the restaurant's called soju.
Yeah, there's Cobra in Bloomfield, and soju is I believe in Garfield, and you get all the bottles there.
Nice.
All the bottles.
I gonna do it. All right, guys. Before we get into this fucking movie, which, spoiler alert, is fucking boring. Let's get. I thought it was. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't in the mood for it. All right, let's get into this
maybe you're in a
movie
bad mood from getting robbed in Philly.
Yes, I did get robbed. Before we disagree about this movie, let's talk about our micro budget gems, guys. That's our showdown topic for the horseshit month of February. We decided that we were talking like pretty much anything below about $400,000 would be considered a micro budget. That is according to what?
The internet.
What did we? The internet. It's IMDb. I don't fucking know. That's what we put it at. So now I did think about this, and we didn't really address it.
Yeah, I thought about it too. And you're about
Yeah.
to say inflation, aren't you?
The old inflation number, because $400,000 in 1920 was a $10 bajillion. So now that probably won't apply too much to my movies because I did pick some like more modern movies, but I thought about that after the fact. So
Yeah.
I don't know how that'll sink or swim our topic here, but
Yeah.
either way, what's the order going to be? That's the question.
Ooh, it's my choice, isn't it?
Mhm,
Gentle
mhm,
sirs.
Mm-hmm.
Your girl's gonna go first.
Yeah.
Steve's gonna go second.
Okay.
Brian's
Fuck
going
you.
third.
Sure. Fuck you. All right, go ahead. What's your movie? I have 3 because I was expecting that to happen. So I have 3. So you can't pick all three of my movies.
I will pick all three of your movies. No, I think I remember when the topic got chosen, I kind of already had a movie in mind, and I think I was overthinking it today. So I'm going to pull a real Meg move today. I was actually initially going to choose Creep, but then I was like, found footage. It could be its own category. B, we poo-poo on found footage a lot, so I'm gonna just like that one's going.
Steve does. I love a found footage. Yeah. Steve's the one who turns his little koju drinking nose up at found footage.
I don't hate all found footage, and I do like Creep. It's just there's a very specific type of found footage that I think is lazy and boring, and it's the things.
Yeah, like the jerky jumbly cam situation. Yeah. But there is I think this movie tonight that we're going to talk about actually has a connection to the movie Creep. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe
we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so you're go ahead.
So
sorry.
I'm gonna pull a real Meg move, and I'm gonna go with Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay. Yeah, see, so I don't know what was the budget in that one?
It's like 140.
Okay, so even with inflation, I think it's pretty safe to say that is a micro budget type of movie, right?
I mean, I looked it up. I feel like I looked it up, and it like in today dollars, I think it's like $2 million. But I'm not looking to fucking nitpick like that. Because I did think about it, but it's just like, I don't know, making a movie still for cheap back then, because it's not like there weren't $1 million movies back then. So,
right. Yeah.
It also just like movies like that, they still have the independent spirit to them. So, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, it's like it's 720.
I take exception to the pick more because it's just a monster of a movie.
Right.
Now I'm like, damn it, I can't pick anything fun because Meg picked Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Obviously, it's gonna fucking win. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
Is it obvious?
I love that movie. I do love that movie. It's not perfect.
I do love it too because it is on my list. But
yeah.
But that's the thing. Maybe you can find something more modern that's made better. You know what I'm saying?
I have one. I'm worried you're going to pick it though, Steve.
So
we're going to see.
I had like a list of 5 and they're from all over the place. Texas Chainsaw was one. So I'm not going to do that. There's one. We should just do it to watch it, but it wouldn't win.
For some reason, I'd be surprised if my number one pick was not on your list. I don't know why. I just have a feeling it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I just went through because I was trying to find something like uncommon that we wouldn't think of. Yeah, and I have 2 common ones. I'm gonna go against my better judgment, and I'm not gonna pick the obvious one.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go with Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Oh, okay. That one was actually on my list and is a great movie. And actually, I forget one of our listeners, and forgive me for forgetting which one I was talking to because I had a bunch of conversations going with folks about their favorite micro budget gems, and I actually suggested Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer to somebody, or they had already seen it or whatever. But yes, that is a fantastic one. Great performance. One of the more disturbing movies you'll ever see, specifically one particular scene.
And at the time it was made for like 110. So
yeah, just absolute. But yeah, that is definitely I think definition of a micro budget, and it has recognizable people still, which is unique.
because it's an early Michael Rooker. So.
Michael Rooker of Walking Dead fame, which we were just talking about. So I have 3 that I'm thinking of, but I really love all these movies, but I think one of them is the only one that's going to maybe stand up to those movies. It is a completely different type of movie, but is definitively a micro budget movie that did get some acclaim, but maybe not as much as it deserves. I'm going with 2017's One Cut of the Dead.
That one that was on my short list as well.
I figured that was on your short list. That was the one that I was worried you were going to pick. My other 2 that I was thinking, which I really love this movie. It's more of a horror comedy. Not that One Cut of the Dead doesn't have some comedic moments in it, but Murder Party. Have you seen Murder Party?
Oh yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, I was talking with somebody on Instagram about that one.
I haven't seen that, but I saw that pop up.
Yeah. Murder Party's great. And then going back, like this was one of the original kind of micro budget ones, but it is like, I love it because it's so creepy and atmospheric and has some tremendous shots, but it is a little bit boring at times. So I didn't know if it would be up everyone's alley, but Carnival of Souls, 1962. I love Carnival of Souls. But yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea. Yeah. So I'm going with One Cut of the Dead, which is a fucking blast.
Fascinating.
2 out of 3 you can find on Tubi as well. Yeah. So
fascinating. Brian picks one that's from within the past 10 years.
I know. This is very, very unlike me, but
so the other ones that I did, the other ones I kind of nixed, like Night of the Living Dead is kind of an obvious.
Yeah.
I felt too obvious.
I felt a little obvious.
But
so
also, I avoided that one because I was like, we could use that for a zombie film too.
Yeah.
For a zombie episode. So
Shivers. Early Cronenberg.
Oh, yeah.
That's. I think he made it.
I love Shivers. I didn't realize that was a low budget situation.
I think I read it was only 76,000 Canadian. So
wow.
Yeah,
I could see that.
179 Canadian.
Oh, okay. 179 Canadian. Whatever. I got close in my brain. And then the other one was Eraserhead, which was made for under 100,000. But it's so weird, and I just didn't know if you guys would accept it and let me win.
It's weird because it's not like I know it is, but for whatever reason, David Lynch doesn't say pure horror to me.
No.
He's like it's his own surrealist type of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, he's never pure horror, but he incorporates like crazy horror elements.
Oh, some of the scary. Like, Mulholland Drive. Yeah, it's like there's some incredibly scary parts, but you're like, when you think of horror movies, you don't necessarily want to go to name Mulholland Drive.
Yeah. There's a whole great
or Blue Velvet, or
Yeah, there's a whole great video on YouTube I watched not too long ago. I don't remember the name of it. You can just look it up by how I describe it, but it's breaking down the anatomy of like a jump scare. And
I've seen this video. I feel like I've seen this video.
And it is saying like how like the one in Mulholland Drive is one of the most effective jump scares you can ever see, but it's not a horror movie. But it just the way it plays out is
like out behind the restaurant, right?
Right, yeah. So I don't know, look
that
that
diner or whatever.
Look that up and learn about horror.
So great.
It's so good.
Yeah, I've seen that video. God damn it, I love me some David Lynch. All right, guys. So let's get into the movie here. So anyway, we're going to talk about those on next week's episode. We are going to each kind of pick. We have obviously picked our movies. We're going to talk about our movies. We're going to argue about them. We're going to vote, and then ultimately somebody's going to take home some bitch for the month of February. Meg is coming off of back-to-back wins.
Did I back-to-back wins?
Yeah, stop acting like you don't remember.
Did I win in December too?
Yeah, didn't she?
Didn't she?
I don't fucking remember right now. Now I'm like mad.
Didn't you?
No, I didn't win in December because I was like celebrating that I hadn't won in a while.
It's just been a long ass January.
Really? I thought you went back to backs. Jesus Christ. We also recorded 2 back-to-back ones to get ahead of it. Yeah, I mean, it's 2023. Right. Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't want to like veer too far off though, but like we're talking about the jump scare. I just want to go back for 2 seconds because I was trying to remember the exact name of the movie. I recently watched Smile.
Sure.
And I'm sure like I finally watched it.
Sure.
And to talk about it for 2 seconds, that I was like, I absolutely kind of hated it. I'll just say there.
Yeah, as you should.
I thought it was kind of lame.
But the only thing it had going for it that like made it somewhat terrifying was the amount of jump scares that was going on. I was like, man, I need to take a Xanax after the end of this.
It was borderline gratuitous, I thought. I don't know.
Yeah, it just makes a movie startling. It doesn't make a movie scary.
Exactly. That's what I felt, because I was like, this isn't a terrifying movie, and it's a story I've heard before. Literally made me think of It Follows without the good music,
or the originality or anything, Yeah, I thought it was fucking lame. And it's just like, so many movies that are just they're just shallow concepts. You know what I mean? We get it. A big distended weird smile is creepy.
I get kind of mad, like seeing this type of movies like come out in the theaters, because like people who aren't really super familiar, that could be a great intro. They're like, oh, this is really creepy. Let's go. And then they're not then going to go find something else because they're like, this isn't actually scary or interesting. I don't know. But at the same time, like that movie is like, it did really well in the box office. And I think it's a movie that is really like, it appeals to like
a base audience as well as just teenagers. It's a movie to go get startled and then a hand job. It's not.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fun. Yes, exactly. It's a fun like date movie. Go out, have fun. But yeah, it's not a masterpiece by any means. But like, I get it that it's not for me. It's not for the hardcore horror fan. But I just. Meh. Fart.
The pee pee poo poo
especially
man coming.
Man.
Anytime I think about it, because there was that movie, The Bye Bye Man, which is like right in line with these movies like Smile and the Annabelles and everything, and it's just like somebody made a poster that's called The Pee Pee Poo Poo Man, and that's all I think of when I think of these movies. Yeah, that's all I think of when I think of these movies. It's just like, here's come the Pee Pee Poo Poo Man, be scared. It's like it's whatevs,
Yeah. Wait, hold on a sec. There's a guy, he's tall, but he's also like really thin.
What if he was slender?
What if he was like tall and like really like weirdly skinny? Yeah.
And he wore a suit.
Yeah, he wore a suit, which is like at times when it's not appropriate to wear a suit. Also, like there was never a character that wore a suit that was even remotely as scary as those fucking guys from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show. Remember the two guys with the big giant smiles that wore suits?
Yeah.
Ruined my life as a kid. And then it was like freaking on WGN or some shit. Not WGN. What was it on? It was on, I don't know, WB or something. But it was like those guys were fucked up scary.
I had to look this up because I obviously haven't seen it in decades.
It was UPN household. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Your UPN household. It was a WGN house. I'm just close enough to Ohio where I got Chicago TV stations for some reason. Anyway, guys, did you before we jump into this movie, because I've got a lot to say about it. Did you guys see Skinamarink?
I did.
Not yet.
I have not watched it yet.
Talking about it.
People are acting like it's fucking awesome, but then I hear a lot of other people say it was just like boring.
I was half surprised neither of you like maybe went for that because it also falls micro budget. It's like it was only 15,000. It's an interesting film, and I think it would done a lot. The biggest problem with it is it's almost 2 hours, and it would have done better at like 72 minutes. And one of the the way it's filmed is super interesting. It's not found footage per se, but the way it makes you feel is like if you've ever been like a little kid who's woken up in a house alone, like if your parents like went out to go get smokes or whatever, and they put after they put you to bed, and you just woke up in a dark house and nobody was around, like it puts you right back into that mindset. And then just like the way things are filmed, it feels like it's from a kid's angle at times, and then other times it's just like an abstract thing where you're looking down a dark liminal space and you're expecting a jump scare that never comes. Just kind of my problems with it though, were just like it's too long, and the jump scares that are in it don't mean anything. Because it immediately
they don't really push anything forward.
Not really. They almost like immediately reset the tension afterwards. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's getting so much buzz. I mean, I definitely want to see it, but I just haven't got around to it. I just have had a couple crazy weeks at work, so I haven't watched a whole lot.
Is it on Shudder?
Yeah, it is now.
Is it now? Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say it got like a limited theatrical release, didn't it?
Yeah, the last time we talked about it, it was in the theaters, and now it's on Shudder. And it's like it's a movie I suggest everybody watch, because there are going to be people like it's a divisive film, and there are people who are going to love it, and there are people who aren't going to love it as much and think it's boring. Yeah, and like if you can kind of make it past the first 20-30 minutes, you'll be good. For the rest of it. But yeah, I can see why people don't love it, and it's just one of those things. It's a film that it's like it's worth watching to see what they can do with 15,000 and see what they bring about. So, and I think it's far better than like Paranormal Activity and Blair Witch, because it gives you more visually to look at. Yeah, that's like more visually confusing.
That's why I thought I was going to because I do like to watch those like super weird, like creepiest videos on YouTube, like countdowns when I'm like laying there in bed, half asleep, like stoned, like I'm just watching like some guy like with his weird animatronic girlfriend he built that's like singing a song and shit. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
You know exactly what video I'm talking
exactly
about.
what you're talking about.
It's so
fucking
creepy. It's so fucking
send it to me
creepy
now.
and weird.
It's such a rabbit hole to go down. Like there's a dude who built like a robot that looks like Scarlett Johansson and lives with it, and it's unpleasant. But
These guys are fucked up.
They have left regular
Well,
society.
maybe we're the weird ones, and maybe that's just the future.
Sure,
We're all just
maybe.
gonna live with some
God, I
sort
hope
of
so.
robot.
I hope so too. I would love to love. I would love to love a Scarlett Johansson robot.
I would love to love
as well, Steve.
Goddamn Soju making those inner thoughts come out.
God, wait, hold on, shit. This is Freudian soju. God damn it. Oh man. All right, guys. Let's get into this fucking movie once again. We are talking about full disclosure. We were gonna talk about Infinity Pool, and then I had to be out of town for work for a whole damn week. Wish I would have just went and saw Infinity Pool because that looks awesome. Still haven't seen it. And we watched Sorry About the Demon from 2022. I'm sorry. But it just released here in the last few weeks on the Shudder exclusive. I have come to determine, which I kind of like, that Shudder exclusive, because they're not like producing the movies necessarily. It's just like they're coming to like temporary exclusivity agreements, for what I understand. You get a tremendous mixed bag. You get stuff from all over the place. You get really scary stuff. You get really stupid stuff. You get really good stuff, really bad stuff, like all over the place, which I do kind of like. This one I thought was god awful boring, you guys.
Really?
I just thought it was boring as fuck. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll do a really quick. Actually, I'll read the quick little plot synopsis, literally one sentence here. A young man struggling with his broken heart learns that his new place is full of restless spirits. That sounds really concise and like, oh my God, you left a lot out. Not really. That's kind of the whole fucking thing. If you watched along with us back in December, when we had Steve number 2 on, and we talked about a little flicky that he made called Amityville Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
This was like a bigger budget, less earnest version of that.
That's fucking hilarious, because
that was the first thing that came to mind too.
That's great, because I guess all three of us had the exact same thought, that like I have it in my notes, like if Premium Steve had $500,000, he would have made this movie.
And he would have been better in it too, because he's more likable than this guy. That was the other thing as well. But I don't know. I didn't think the performances were bad or anything, but I guess we can kind of just start high level and talk about just the main plot points, and then talk about some things we liked about it and didn't like about it. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of this very familiar like Arrested Development type of story with the guy who's kind of like an underachiever, creative, free spirit, maybe, that doesn't want to make decisions or commit to things or grow up because he's scared of what the future might bring or something like that, right? So it's like, it's fucking Happy Gilmore, but with ghosts. So like early on, he's stuck in this kind of dead end job, which really one of the only, I thought, like original and mildly, I felt like every line, I knew what the next line was going to be. Except for when he was on the phone talking about the toothpaste, I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But he works. So it's very cartoonish. It's a horror comedy for sure. But the dialogue even then is very cartoonish. It's very much not unlike Amityville Christmas Vacation. It's shot very much in this intentional Hallmark Christmas movie type of, and the script, the dialogue is written very much like a Hallmark Christmas movie.
Oh yeah. So
like a Hallmark romantic movie,
So like, yeah. So the main character, Will, he has like big G Willikers energy, which is
jeez. Yeah.
Which is kind of why we're thinking of Steve Rudzinski in his films. Yeah. Because the character he plays.
But imagine him, but not funny. Like he's not funny at all.
He's
really.
not. Yeah. He doesn't. A lot of his stuff
he's
doesn't.
More silly. He falls like like all the things even that made you left talking about the toothpaste. They're just all kind of silly. Like, oh, he's a silly goose.
Right.
Yeah. He's a silly goose. G Williker, silly goose. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. A lot of his lines, they don't land or anything. The one that really hit me was like later in the film, and I don't know why. I think that line always makes me laugh though, is when he's confronting his ex and her new boyfriend, and then he ends their interaction with, "But you two went and made it weird." And I don't know why that always hits me. That one always hits me. Like,
yeah, but that was seriously a Paul Blart line. You know what I mean? Like I could imagine Kevin James saying it. That's not saying it's not funny, but it just was actually kind of bizarre, because overall I thought it was pretty well performed. There wasn't the main character, the main guy, like I said, he was kind of milquetoast for me. I wasn't really that interested in him. He was kind of like, you know, slightly nerdy, handsome, but not quite nerdy enough to be like believable as a nerd. You know what I mean? I thought the friends were pretty good. Yeah. The kind of grown up friend that is trying to like guide him. And then Amy with the 2 E's, which is his girlfriend's girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, love interest. His name is Amy. But then there's a second Amy that kind of helps them, who's like a medium kind of. She was good. And even Amy, the love interest, was good. The only ones who were really bad were like the family, like the sellers or whatever. Especially the mom and dad. The dad was.
Oh, really? You didn't like them? I like them.
Horseshit.
I like
they
them.
fell in line, in my opinion, on like the humor that we're talking about. But the son, I think, was the weirdest character.
That's the one I didn't
he was
like.
Bad too.
The son was flat.
I guess.
The son was flat. The mother and the mother and father.
The mother was okay. I guess.
I think they both were just
into it.
they were both just being like over the top, and it's
over the top, but like not in a. They just weren't getting. They were right near the top, but they didn't go over enough to like make it really
surprised
funny.
all this is coming out of your mouth. I would have expected you would have like found at least some of these things funny. I don't know.
They just didn't go far enough. I guess. Like if you're gonna go cartoonish and goofy, go all the way. But they just kind of, I don't know. They didn't go far enough, I guess.
I can see how it could have been more, but I feel like because they were more cartoonish than the rest of the characters, they stood out and like made me laugh. I think everybody listening,
go munchies with it, you know, just go fucking over the top.
I think everybody listening has to understand, like, you know, Brian's extra cranky, so he's putting a -2 debuff on everything he says. So like he probably would be more in line with
emo.
us.
I got robbed. I'm emo. I got my computer, my freaking my laptop, my iPad, tons of shit stolen out of my car. So I'm extra emo right now. But yeah, I don't know why. I just had no fucking patience for this movie.
Well, I mean, and you're totally right though. And like, the movie doesn't really do anything new at any point. It's just
so predictable.
It's just the way it presents itself, because it does present itself like all those daytime shots. Everything that's daytime in the house is like color timed like a Hallmark film. Like it's all super bright. It's all super saturated. It's, you know, it's easy to look at, but not being approaching saccharine a little bit. And then everything in the basement is kind of scary. You know, other than that, you know, it's meant to be this little dichotomy between a Hallmark film and an Exorcist film. But yeah, it doesn't do anything new in any of those realms.
It never takes a big swing. This is what I was hoping for the whole time, is there's all this, kind of like borderline saccharine, Hallmarky bullshit. And it's kind of like, I'm going to keep drawing this comparison because I just like the Amityville Christmas Vacation so much more and was made for, you know, 1 bajillionth of the budget. But, you know, with that movie, it's, first of all, it's actually funny, but also the other thing that's enjoyable about it is like, it'll have these really like all G. Willikers things, but then you'll get like you know, like the girlfriend goes to hell at the end. You know what I mean? It's like so over the top. This never took any swings like that. It was just like you literally knew what was going to happen the entire time, every second. From the time they broke up and you saw her for the second time you saw Amy, you were like, oh, she's going to continue to be in this movie. You knew she was going to get possessed. Right. Like there was no way it wasn't going to happen. And then the whole time I'm hoping, well, I hope she just like gets her head ripped off or something wild happens that just comes out of left field, and it never comes.
Yeah. Even when she's possessed, she doesn't really do anything like super crazy. Like
No, her head spins around in a really, really shitty CGI moment. And that was it.
The most.
What was the budget for this anyway?
I couldn't find it, so I just looking at it, I just assumed it was like $500,000.
It's low.
Yeah, at the most, it's got to be. I mean, it's low budget, so like I give it that. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not expecting craziness, but boy.
Yeah. I wish, like, because the craziest thing that happens is when it's actually the lawyer friend who gets possessed, and like he breaks Will's arm. You know,
for a quick second, I paid attention to this movie a little closer. I was like, oh shit, okay, cool. The voice was shitty, but whatever, because the friend, what was Will's friend's name? He's the one that's like an accountant or something, or a lawyer or whatever. He's like the responsible friend. Anyway, like he's the only, like he's pretty good. He was genuinely, he was meant to play like a pretty unlikable, not unlikable, but just like, kind of borderline obnoxious character, I guess. But he was great. And when he went all evil and shit and broke his arm, I was like, oh, okay, they might go bonkers with this. But nah, they never really did.
I could have been more into it if it was maybe 20-25.
It was too long, too. It was like an hour.
It would have consolidated. It was an hour and 40 minutes.
Too long.
I think that hour and 20 minutes, it probably would have been perfect for this type of film. Too
long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they spend a lot of time with just Will by himself dealing with like haunted house stuff. And I like all the haunted house stuff because it's done like practically, and there's a lot of fun to, like when the cabinets all explode. I like that.
Yeah, but like it was all predictable.
Yeah.
Like it's all been seen 100 times in other movies. And that's kind of the joke. Here's a bunch of possession tropes, but they just they never, I don't know. They never took it to an interesting degree.
I agree. I was bored throughout most of it. But again, I kept going back to it. There's certain silly things. What I liked about the ghost situation was I liked that quick startle with it he was always getting. Again, it felt really silly. It was all predictable, but overall, it was like hard to keep my attention, but I might have paid more attention or been able to focus more if it was like I said, about the time.
The one scene, like, I guess it's like a couple scenes, but like he's getting startled by the one ghost who steals his shirt and is wearing it. Yeah. And like, it's the scene where like he's trying to go to bed and he's like talking to the ghost, and the ghost disappears because it's annoyed with him complaining. And then he lays down and then it's standing on top of his bed. And then
he's like, oh God, what are you doing?
He's all startled and upset. But like the one line in that is like, he just gets fed up and then he goes, leave me alone. And he pulls his cover over him. And I was like, that would be such a premium Steve line. Like that's,
I know. That's the thing is it felt like he wrote this movie, but they just didn't get anybody that wanted to be as over the top about the performance, you know, because even at the beginning, it was so uncanny because he was doing the same thing as Amityville Christmas Vacation, where he kept doing no matter how obvious it was that something was happening, he was just wasn't getting it. He was denying it. Right. He was just pretending it wasn't happening. And like, you know, Steve played that a little bit more like he almost played it like a Homer Simpson-y type of like, I'm stupid, so I don't get it. This guy played it as he was like ignoring it. And it just felt like he was always a little bit too cool for school. The guy who was playing this character, like he didn't really get into the, okay, I'm a real sad sack type of character. That would have been a lot. I don't know. More endearing.
Yeah. Because I mean, another line that's at the end is like, after Amy's been possessed and like the whole thing is she's going to go to hell at 3:15, you know, because like her body is possessed and the demon Dionamus or whatever is going to take her body to hell. And like, so Will says, well, if you take her to hell, I'm coming with you and you have to deal with me for the rest. And like, that's funny. But if it's delivered, I don't know, just in a different way, it's funnier.
And also he's not that annoying. Like Will is not that annoying. He's just like a regular guy. Yeah. And they keep acting like he's the worst and he thinks he's the worst. And he's so annoying that the demon can't even deal with him. Yeah. It's just like, that's not really what we're experiencing.
You know what I wish would have been the case is like when the toothpaste burnt Amy is I almost wish they like lean into that a little bit more, and somehow the toothpaste actually saved the day. Like I think that would have been just like a more hilarious way to like even wrap this up, or I don't know, or even just like put the toothpaste in the cake and then that's when it explodes. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I think that would have been a cool like comeback moment.
I mean, maybe you guys can explain the toothpaste a little bit more, but just before that, like they put the toothpaste in the hole to seal it up or whatever. And then the little demon possessed girl goes, "That didn't look cool." And it's like, that's funny. Like, that's hilarious.
It would have been funny, but like they didn't explain.
But that's why I'm asking. Did you guys get why it was the toothpaste? Why did the toothpaste help?
I assumed maybe it was some sort of like far flung thing about like, because they kept saying how it had sodium bicarbonate in it. And I don't know if there was some sort of chemical reaction between like sodium bicarbonate and like ash or something that would like I don't know. I didn't really, honestly, at that point in the movie I didn't care so much that there's no way I was going to think about it any further. Like I peaked in not caring at that point. But like, yeah, it's just like there was a lot of lazy script work too, where they were trying to make all of this connections back to why they were going to save Amy by incorporating all of Will's like stupid hobbies and failed professions or something, you know what I mean? And it was just like, it just felt like a stretch. And I also, again, just, they never made me care about anyone at all. Like I just was, I know maybe I'm being too harsh, but it's just like, it's felt not well thought out and didn't feel like there was a lot of care that went into it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I see like the care that went into it as far as like, because everything was filmed nice. I'm always impressed with like the way things are filmed, like the haunted house stuff.
That's the thing, it's professional.
Yeah,
you know.
The haunted house effects were good. The probably one of my favorite ghost effects was like during that seance. They did like a little Insidious jump scare behind Patrick. There's a mirror. And like in one shot, there's nothing. And then in the next shot, there's the ghost girl. And then the next shot, there's nothing. So it's kind of like it's there and it's not. So like they do things.
They did
that
one
well.
where you caught behind him like this little creepy hand too at one point, which I just barely caught. And I was like, oh, we're going to get like a really cool practical effect. But you just never did. Like the ghost just kind of had like Kennywood level zombie makeup on or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like that because that kind of makes sense is if this is a Hallmark movie, that's the level of like makeup they would do. Like that's as scary as the monsters would get. They don't want to make scary monsters. So I kind of got that.
But there was
like
never
that.
a juxtaposition. And maybe that's not what they were going for. But for me, it's like, I don't want to see a Hallmark scary movie. I want to see a Hallmark scary movie, and then there's a crazy juxtaposition, and you get like a fucking crazy psycho gourmand demon or something, you know? And
it never turns. It never turns serious. Like it never turns.
You never get a demon. You just get possessed people. And like just vague ghouls. Like that are ghosts or whatever.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, it never takes that moment where it stops being kind of like tongue in cheek and funny and just like becomes serious and like there's a real threat that you're terrified of. It's more. It still falls down the line of a rom-com of like Will trying to figure out how to accept himself and accept like the way he is and the way Amy may or may not feel about him. So.
Yeah. Maybe if he would have had like a profession that made more sense for his personality, like he had this thing where he wanted to be like a craftsman of some sort. Like he wanted to be a woodworker. He wanted to be like a candle maker, but then like, I wouldn't believe him as any of those things. Like he reminded me of the fucking wannabe comedian from Munchies, you know, he just like was this like generically kind of handsome, vaguely charming, but not funny guy. White guy with dark hair. You know what I mean?
White guy with dark hair.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. They're fucking walking down the street.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I just didn't believe him as anything except for an actor.
I'm surprised we are an hour into this episode and Meg has not called him a beta or a cuck at any point.
Not yet. And he is such a beta cuck. That's the thing. He's such a soy boy beta cuck.
That's just not my role here.
That's not your 2023. That's not 2023 Meg. That's 2022 Meg. Where she's calling everyone cocks and betas.
We're leaving her in the past.
Meg's accepting of, people who, aren't just pure alpha dogs.
Yeah.
That was where she was at last year, but she's, come around and she's accepting people for their flaws.
She's okay with guys who knit and bake.
Yeah. You're not strictly out for the alpha dogs now.
Yes, my Tinder profile is updated.
It's updated. It's now betas. Before it said betas need not apply. Now you just deleted that.
No cucks allowed.
Speaking of Creep, Meg was talking about the movie Creep. I am 90% sure that the basement staircase that Will descends down to is the basement staircase from Creep, from one of the covers of Creep.
Interesting.
With the mortar and lat and the lights and the it is. I'm like 90% sure that's the case. Like so much so when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's the house from Creep, or that's at least the staircase from Creep.
Let's see if we can find it. So while I'm doing a quick little research on that, I can tell you there are connections to other films that we do like.
Okay.
No, see, here's the thing. Okay, Creep was filmed in California, and this was filmed in Toronto, Ontario. So,
really? Well, Creep was. I thought Creep was a Canadian movie.
No, that's one of them Duplass brothers.
The Duplass.
Yeah. Ain't no way the Duplass brothers is gonna walk out of California. Do a movie
as you pull out your
what accent is
as you pull out your New Jersey accent.
That's my soju accent.
That's your soju.
So okay, but the
I always thought it was Robert De Niro, maybe slightly.
Yeah, who cares?
It was a little long.
Who cares? But so the ties to this is so Aaron B. Kuntz is one of the producers on this film, and he's like the producer director on Scare Package films.
Oh, okay.
Like he's a producer writer on Scare Package and Scare Package 2. And then the main actor in this film is the wraparound Mike Myers from Scare Package.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I could see that. I was just looking. She also the director, Emily.
I'd say Higgins.
What's her last name? Higgins.
I'd say Higgins. Yeah.
She did the cold open segment in Scare Package as well, which is great.
Yeah. So like they've done like good things that you guys like. I feel like I don't hate this movie as much. Just maybe I've been watching a bunch of shit that has upset me.
Yeah. So you were just looking like the fact that this was palatable.
It's palatable. It's just nice down the middle. It didn't like anger me one way or the other.
No. I just was bored by it. Just bored to fucking death. I think the other thing that I don't know. I'd heard a couple of good things about it too, maybe, which was why I expected more. But maybe that threw me for a loop because I didn't go in totally blind. I'd heard that it was like really fun and entertaining, and then I was bored to death.
Yeah, so. I wonder like if it's, I don't know, maybe just our age and jadedness because we've seen so much that it like perhaps. You know, there's nothing in this that could have surprised us at any point. So like I've seen this done so many more times, right? So many times better, and that like I was even thinking about all the other like kind of rom-com films that there've been because like there was like did you guys see Life After Beth with Aubrey Plaza? You know.
No.
Okay, so it's like Aubrey Plaza doing a zombie, and then somebody's in love with her. There's there's another one which I think is even like a bigger budget film, but like what is it called? Warm Bodies.
Oh yeah.
So
that's another romantic zombie movie.
And honestly, I was just thinking about like, have we exhausted all the monsters at this point? like I was trying to think of other rom-com examples of like, is there a Frankenstein rom-com? And I'm just like, nah, it's probably the Munsters. But, you know.
Yeah, or yeah, I mean, I guess all Frankenstein movies are kind of rom-coms a little bit. I don't know if you think about it.
But yeah, it's not like this is a new, you know, like I guess even Shaun of the Dead in a way, it has rom-com kind of vibes to it because like Shaun is trying to get back his girlfriend. So yeah, so yeah, it's not new to the genre, but I don't know. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hold up to masterpieces like 1999's The Mummy.
Right.
You know, Brendan Fraser, 1999's The Mummy. Yeah, I don't know. I do think that, I mean, there is literally a sub genre, which I think you would probably categorize Shaun of the Dead as probably the origin maybe of this. I would go out on a limb and say, which is zomcoms, which are zombie rom-coms. Yeah. Like there are enough zombie rom-coms that they coined the phrase zomcoms. But and then of course, you know, you see plenty of them in the vampire mythos. You know, with all that, because it's obviously there's a huge like, you know, sexual component to that and all that sort of thing. But
and then fucking damn it, my brain, damn soju brain, the Guillermo del Toro movie In the Water.
What is it?
The Shape of Water.
The Shape of Water. Yeah, that's sea creature rom-com.
It's funny how you in describing the movie almost said the entire title.
I know.
You're like that one that's it's like talks about, you know, like it's a weird shaped monster in the water.
Yeah.
The Shape of Water. Yeah.
I can get all the words around it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for you guys. Have you guys seen One Cut of the Dead?
I have, yes.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Okay.
I was curious when I saw it when I was doing my research, but
yeah, it's a fucking blast. There is a component there to it as well, but in a different way. There's a romantic component, I would say. But anyway, it's it's so much fucking better than this movie.
Well, now here's the thing.
Yeah,
Grumpy Brian. There's a lot of movies better than
Demonius. The demon's name's Demonius, by the way.
I know, but
Demonius is if there was a demon-themed WCW wrestler, he would be called Demonius.
Yes, it's fucking Mantor. I get it.
Yeah.
But that's the point. But
the Legion of what was it called? Not the Legion of Doom. It's not LOD. What was the freaking faction of bad guys in WCW that were all like monsters and shit?
The Dungeon of Doom.
Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah.
I was going to say the Temple of Doom.
Yeah, the Kevin Sullivan.
Yes,
yeah.
The Dungeon of Doom. Like it just, that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying, but also like I guess maybe because I identified it so quickly as like this could be a premium Steve film.
Yeah,
that like
I did too, but I just kept thinking it's not as earnest or funny or. The dialogue's worse.
Same.
But they also had like a bajillion times more budget.
But don't you think
annoying.
Premium Steve would also name his demon Diamonis?
He would try to do something funnier. Maybe, I guess. But the thing is, like, it never was funny. That's what, like, if it was a funny movie, then that would have made it funny. Mm-hmm. But it's just like everything else was so half-assed in the comedy department. I just didn't think anyone involved was funny. Mm. Like, no one made me laugh. I can't think of one line where I was like, okay, that was a good line. That was really funny.
Mm.
Maybe like I said, maybe I'm just being a grump, but like I really didn't find really anything funny. I didn't laugh once.
I found a couple things funny. I thought Patrick, the lawyer friend, kicking through the door with his taekwondo. And just being surprised at himself.
But no, he fucked it up because when that happened, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. You didn't see that coming. Because what you thought was going to happen is he's like Mr. Taekwondo guy and then he can't break the door and then the son breaks it or something. Mm-hmm. But then he fucking kicks the door and then the line he delivers, we were talking about some fucking movie recently, some bullshit I think I made you guys watch for like a fucking punishment episode or something. And we were talking about how Oh, the Chuck Norris movie.
Yeah.
Remember we were talking the Chuck Norris movie? He does something cool, and then his line is like, "Don't do that to me again." You know, something like that. That's what he did. He kicked the door, and you think he's going to say something cool, but then he's just like, "Wow, I didn't know that I was as strong as that with karate." And it's like, fuck you had a golden opportunity for a lie. But I'm saying it was not funny. Like, it wasn't a funny line.
I don't know. It felt more. No, the line wasn't funny, but it was just his reaction because he didn't expect himself to be able to do it. He was just so surprised.
It was just like basically a laugh was like it was like I threw a beach ball up in the middle of the room. He was standing there for the tennis racket. And he fucking whiffed. You know what I mean? Like, it was just such a perfect setup.
I also felt like in that particular scene too, just like the boy's reaction to it, like, oh, you need some help there. Like, it felt too awkward in a sense, but it could be just
sucked.
that.
I don't know what was
he
going on.
He did suck a lot.
Yeah,
I just like it probably wasn't necessary because I felt like in a certain sense you would have maybe in another film wanted to see him like take charge or something. That's how that interaction felt. But then it was just like, or it could have been Patrick's opportunity to like make himself a stronger character, but it also
Patrick was trying to impress Amy with two E's in that scene.
Right.
So like, that's why he waved off the kid. It's just like the kid was meh. Like,
but it was just like, I agree with Meg that there were so many times where it felt like, here's what I think it is, and I'm going to pick on her more, but I feel bad, but I really think this was the problem. The dialogue wasn't great, but I think so much of the dialogue didn't land because of the directing. Like, they just that scene that Meg just mentioned is a great example of where it felt like the characters didn't really understand what was happening between them and how to communicate it by the way they delivered the dialogue.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it would have been better if the kid would have went, "Hey, what are you, some kind of, I thought you were a karate guy or whatever." And then he does it. And then he's like surprised with himself and then says like a tough guy line back to him, or the inverse. And he makes a fool of himself. And then the kid does it, you know, but it just kind of fell right in the middle in an ambiguous way.
Yeah.
And there's just so many times in this movie where it was like, what was I supposed to take from that interaction?
Yeah.
And it just felt like the actors were left to their own devices.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I kind of get what you're saying as far as like, it doesn't seem like everybody is on the same page as to what they should be doing. Because like Amy Regular, she plays everything pretty down the middle. And then the mother and father are like approaching that edge of dubious, you know, just like nonsense. And then, you know, like Will has his weird G. Willikers energy where he's like not because Will's on the same page as the mother and the father, because the cold open to the film is the mother and father making a deal with the demon to get their daughter unpossessed. And they are like, they're not shocked or surprised or fearful of the fact that there's a demon possessing their daughter. They're just like, what do we got to do to make this thing happen here? You know?
Yeah. And it's like, and even that scene is like, okay, so is it because they're so,
is it because they're so slimy, or just because
jaded?
or just because they're cartoonish? You know?
Yeah. Is it because they're cartoonish sales? They're literally, their last name is Sellers,
right?
And he's a real estate agent. So is it because he's, Mike TV's dad from Willy Wonka, and he's just always trying to wheel and deal in, or like Helga Pataki's dad from Hey Arnold? Is he that? Or I know I only picked the most grown up of comparisons to reference, but like, is he that character, or is it just that it's super cartoonish and this type of stuff happens all the time in this universe?
Right.
They never really establish that.
Yeah. And that's because the other things is like other characters fall outside of that, obviously, but like Will falls inside of that realm because he's never like, he gets startled by the ghost, but also like he tries to talk to them. He tries to hang out with them. He tries to annoy them. Like I think the funniest bit for me was when they were fucking with the TV and he decides to leave the room and he throws the remote at the ghost and it just goes through her. Like, it's just such a
Yeah, he's like, fine, you can watch TV, I don't care, or something like that.
It's just the throwing of the remote, he's just accepted that the ghost is there, but he doesn't think about it as a ghost. So he falls in that box, but then like Patrick is outside of that box. The cops are outside of that box. The kids are like whatever, and like,
well, the kids are actually like even more confusing than the parents, because you're not really sure if you're supposed to dislike that family or not. Like they set it up at the beginning that they're like kind of slimy, right? Yeah. But then they really don't act that. I mean, they don't show up for a long time, obviously, until they come back in, and then Will kind of confronts them, but like half-assed, and there's not really that much conflict between them. And then also the kids, like they kind of at times half make the kids out to be like shitbags as well, but then not enough where you don't care enough about them to be concerned when they're in danger, but you also don't hate them so much where you're like, fuck them.
Yeah, because like, and even then, that's also them. They never play up their own safety or anything. Like it's at the end of the film where like they're all having kind of the anniversary of the exorcism in the house, and Grace, the young girl, goes off to play on her own, and then the boy comes back into the room, and he says, "I can't find Grace anywhere." Exactly as I just did, like just flat. So like, there's never a sense that they have any emotion about their own peril. Yeah, for you to ever care about them.
No, they don't. They're just kind of floating around through life. And then at the end, when, listen, we're spoiling this, but it's, trust me, you see it coming from a mile away. As they're driving away, he gives her the headphones that he had, that kind of he was communicating early on through the demons through his Walkman. He gives it to the girl because she's like, "Oh, I was listening to this and I like it, and can I have it?" Who does that? Sure. Gives it to her. And then, so you immediately, like, if you didn't already get that she's off being possessed by a demon, now you definitely get it. So then the little reveal at the end when they're driving away and she's got like demon, she's all demoned out, and you get the sting and he's like, "Ooby." It's like, you don't really care. And you're not surprised in a funny way, or a scary way, and you don't really care what happens to her or the family. So it's just,
yeah. I really wish he would have just tugged on his shirt collar though. At that,
who are you gonna boy, something, anything. Yeah. But no, he just goes,
or even just hit it with the most obvious line of "Here we go again." Fuck it,
that would have been fucking brilliant. Honestly. I would have this movie would have went from like a 2.7 to a 3 for me if they just would have went, "Here we go again," and then freeze frame.
Just just hit every cliche and hit every cliche, let that happen, and just play it earnestly.
A line that didn't even have anything to do with it. It was just like, "Well, it's a living," and then he just like freeze frame.
Just everybody looks at him like, "What? Like, what the fuck does that mean?"
Yeah, it's just like a fucking Flintstones line.
Yeah,
it's like when they look under the sink and there's like a pterodactyl eating the garbage in the garbage disposal.
It's a living.
It's a living.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. I mean, what else? Any other thoughts on this one? If we had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, like I said, I've put it at a paltry 2.7. I could give it a 3.
Yeah, I'm not working on numericals. I'll put it on the scale of watch Skinamarink first, then you can watch this, then watch Smile if you have to.
Yeah, or if you put this on to fall asleep to, and when you're fucking dozing off. Yeah. Meg, where would you put this? Where'd you put this guy at?
I won't recommend it to other people, and I probably won't watch it again. So I'm going to go with
so bad.
Pretty hard. I think I'll stick with a 3 because it was silly enough, because I was almost going to go 2. It's like not 5 where I'm neutral. I had feelings and I was like, yeah.
I had feelings and the feelings were bad.
Yeah.
it's not the worst movie in the world.
No.
Like I know I'm being a little harsh. You're not gonna be like, fuck this piece of shit. But also like just so much other good things to watch right now.
If like it's one of those things that I think about sometimes, and again, it goes back to us being old and jaded. But it's just like if you're like 17 and you've never seen, or you just haven't had a lot of movies to watch or whatever, and you just haven't seen it. And
if you were just born, if you were just born,
if you're a baby,
you're watching your,
if you're a baby,
you're a dumb baby,
you're a stupid dumb baby.
If you're a stupid baby who's only ever watched Roblox,
go get it. You go watch this movie, you stupid dumb baby.
But I mean, if you just don't have the media literacy, like this isn't a terrible movie to be like early in your catalog of things to watch.
Yes, here's how I'll phrase it. I think you're onto something. It's fine. It's just, if it was on Hulu or Amazon Prime or Netflix, it would be fine, but it's not for Shudder. Because Shudder has got a lot of horror. I would imagine the subscribers of Shudder are way more horror centric, obviously,
right?
But have seen way more horror movies and are not going to be impressed by this. Whereas it would probably do fine on.
Can I ask you guys a question
someone
about
else.
like Shudder originals or things released? Have there been more movies on Shudder that you've been impressed with or not?
I was actually early on in Shudder's life. There was a lot more of the Shudder originals. The batting average was higher, I think, for me early on. But I will admit, since there has been a lot more Shudder movies that have come out, Shudder originals that have come out, I haven't watched nearly as many of them. So and it could just be a bad luck thing, but I have the impression that the overall quality of Shudder originals have went down just a little bit. But it might just be because there's a lot more of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that might not be fair to say, but I can tell you when I first subscribed to Shudder, which was not long after it started, I was always like, ooh, a new Shudder original. You know what I mean? And I'm not so much like that anymore.
Yeah. So I think you're right when you say that, Brian, there's just more, like there's just more of everything. And like, there's only so many places that are going to accept horror movies to begin with. Cause I mean, you have Tubi, Screambox, and Shudder. And then after that, I think you have to make like an IP to wind up on, or a pre-existing IP to wind up on like Hulu and Netflix and things like that.
Sure.
I think the other thing that goes along with this is like going back to Aaron B. Coots is a producer, is like perhaps he sold exclusivity rights to Shudder as a package deal, because he put Scare Package 2 out last year. He also put out Old Man, which I think is going on Shudder. And like he's so like, and also the director Emily, there's obviously a lot of cross pollination because she had directorials in Scare Package and VHS. So like there's a lot of interwoven, close-knit groupness to this of like just, like always helping your friends out. Like, so you got to respect that. But
I did kind of just look, I'm just kind of, going down, and there's a playlist of on Shudder right now of the Shudder class of 2022.
Sure.
Which was appears to be all of the or the major Shudder exclusives or Shudder originals from 2022. And I don't know, there's a lot of cool movies on here. I'm not gonna lie.
Was A Wounded Fawn
fucking over the place? Yeah, A Wounded Fawn was one of them.
That movie fucking rules.
That was a fucking great one. I really like The Apology. Did you watch that?
I didn't get to that one yet. I know you recommended it. And somebody else recommended it to me too.
I like that. Christmas Bloody Christmas. I really liked. I started watching that Slashback and it just felt a little too Goonies for me, and I kind of lost interest. Mandrake was pretty good. Satan's Slaves Communion was pretty good. Resurrection, VHS 99. Didn't see it. Deadstream was really good.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't see it. Raven's Hollow, started watching it, was not so great. Flux Gourmet. If you guys get a chance to see Flux Gourmet.
I started it, but it was subtitled, and I was like, I can't read this late at night. I gotta go bed.
Okay, it doesn't. It's not. The whole movie's not subtitled.
Oh, it isn't? Okay.
No. Just certain sections of it.
Yeah, it did catch my eye, though.
Flux Gourmet is one of the fucking weirdest, most fun. Like, I just love when I get to watch something that I have no idea what's going to happen, and I've never seen another movie like this. Same with that. I would say Moloch was pretty good too. The Long Night was pretty good. Mad God was fucking masterpiece.
That stands out on its own. Like, so like a lot of the things we were talking about, like the VHS and like Deadstream, like you can find connections there, and VHS and these films, you can find connections there. Mad God is just Phil Tippett, like doing his own fucking thing, and just like, I'm going to make this crazy fucking nightmare. You watch.
Was the Sadness a Shudder?
I don't believe it was.
No,
I don't remember.
I know
though.
It debuted maybe on Shudder.
Maybe it did.
I don't know. That movie was fucking great. Yeah. I mean, there really was a good amount of them, but I'll be honest with you. I'm going to Hellbender. Did you guys watch Hellbender?
I watched Hellbender.
I feel like you weren't a big fan of Hellbender.
It's not that I didn't like it. It's just, I felt like I knew where it was going, and I fell asleep watching it. And I was just like, I never picked it back up, because I knew where it was going and where it was going to end.
It does. Yeah. I mean, you kind of do, but you kind of don't. It does go a little bonkers in a fun way. They Live in the Gray. I thought that was good. And then they did that whole big documentary on folk horror. That was like fucking 3 hours long or something. That was really good. What's it called? Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched, A History of Folk Horror. I didn't finish that, but I mean, it's fucking exhaustive. It's long, but I actually found a bunch of movies on there, that I didn't even know about, or hadn't, weren't familiar with, or didn't know much about, that I watched based on that. Cause I do like a folk horror, Yins guys.
Yeah. Yins guys watch a ritual. You go watch a ritual.
Yeah. All right.
Came up on, speaking of which, I can't remember exactly what the budget was. That kept coming up on lists for like low budget horror movies.
What, the Ritual?
The Ritual?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. It's a low budget, but yeah, it's not micro. It's not micro.
Yeah, but it does have some cool. I thought for that one, the CGI component of it was pretty well done.
Yeah. Yeah. The CGI
for a movie that relies heavily on it.
Yeah, the CGI is pretty well done. The way they blend the forest and like interior stuff is cool. So yeah,
with the liquor store, all the liquor store scenes and shit. Yeah, that was a fun movie, and it was well acted. I feel like it was well performed. If you've not seen it, that's absolutely worth a watch.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's remind our listeners out there what the hell else to watch this week. We're going to do micro budget gems next week. So if you got some free time, you want to watch some dang old flickies this week ahead of our showdown episode for February, I am going to be talking about One Cut of the Dead from 2017. Meg is going to be talking about the old Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And Steve, you are going to be talking about shit. What is it again?
No, not shit. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
There's a good feel-good movie.
Yeah.
Listen, do yourself a favor. Curl up on a little popcorn, little chai tea, sitting back, relaxing. Maybe you got your celestial seasonings, little bear snoozing on the box tea, getting ready for bed.
I have snoozy bear tea.
Go watch yourself a little Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. That'll put you right to sleep.
There are two wolves inside of me. One wolf says, "Hey, sorry about the demons. Okay." The other wolf says, "We're gonna watch Henry, the Portrait of a Serial Killer." You fucking.
There maybe is not two movies ever created more polar opposite than those two movies. Henry, the Portrait of a Serial Killer is a mean-spirited, disturbing movie. And this movie was completely devoid of laughs or scares. But that'll be fun. We got three I would say heavy hitter movies, I would say.
Banger after banger.
Emotionally heavy hitter movies here, so that should be a lot of fun. All right, guys. Anything else I'm forgetting about this here movie or next episodes, that sort of things?
Well, follow us on TikTok.
Yeah.
Drink soju. Watch soju videos on TikTok.
Watch Steve's soju videos. He's getting fucking.
He's gonna start
based.
sabering soju bottles. I know it.
I gotta learn the tornado first.
Well, you're gonna do
yeah.
that thing. Yes, you gotta do the tornado. And also, I'm imagining fast forward 2 weeks from now, Steve laying in bed, his entire bedroom floor covered in empty soju bottles, just like for some reason wearing like a big diaper. Like he's just like. It's just a fucking full on under the bridge DJ.
Hell yeah.
And then I'll be right there with you.
I can't wait to start recording from under the bridge.
Steve's on
This new podcast.
Under the Bridge time with Steve. And then we get sued for using that Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
Damn it.
All right, guys. For the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm soon Harry Peach.
See you later.
Bye.